findings released by the U.S. Census Bureau in 2022, 27.9% of the U.S. population holds only a high school diploma. That's over 64 million people that their only education they've gotten in their entire lives is the K-12 system. The public K-12 system should matter to everyone. Not only have you and your peers gone through it, but your future children, nieces, nephews, and even the people you will work with will go through the same system. Think back to your high school. If you had the power, is there something you would change about your academic experience that would help you now? I'm currently studying to be a teacher, and looking at other countries can help to expand my own view of education. Countries like Japan, Korea, and France have advantages in their education system that the U.S. could benefit from adapting. According to Laura Toroloff, a writer for 90 Day Korean, an online language and culture resource, high school in South Korea is only 3 years long, but students have a choice between multiple types of schools they can go to. The first type is academic schools. These are the more traditional route. They prepare for the Sunyong, an 8-hour test that the students go through to get into a university. The majority of the students go to these. There are also specialized schools in which they hone in on one certain subject, like science, arts, foreign language, or even sports. And then there are vocational schools. These prepare students for employment. They specialize in agriculture, business, fishery, engineering, technology, and marine transportation. But how would implementing a system like this affect the U.S.? Like you all probably know, if you like a class, you tend to perform better in that class. Going to a school that specializes in what you like and want to do can vastly improve not only your enjoyment, but also your grades and test scores. And it'll let students figure out earlier on what they really want to do in their life. The U.S. isn't as far off from this as you might think. When you think of high schools most students in Winston-Salem are enrolled in, there's something about that school that it is known for. For example, Reynolds is seen as an arts school versus Reagan, which is more known for athletics. Making this an actual structure instead of an implied one would be more beneficial for students. Similar to South Korea's education system, Japan also has a multitude of aspects the U.S. could benefit from looking at. According to SPICE, the Stanford Program of International and Cross-Cultural Education, in Japan, students typically stay in their classrooms the entire day, with teachers moving instead of students. To me, this makes a lot more sense than our current system. Think about the typical high school class change experience here. Hundreds of students flood into the hallways, and they're loud, and they're trampling over everything in their way, and as someone of my stature, that's terrifying. Having 30 to 40 teachers in the hallway instead would keep schools a lot calmer and provide a better learning environment. This would also discourage students from skipping classes, which has proven to be beneficial in their academic career. Osoji, a communal period at the end of the school day where students assist in cleaning their homeroom classrooms. How many of you have worked in a retail or food industry job and you get a pit in your stomach when you see a rowdy group of high school or middle school students without an adult walks in? It's common in the U.S. to consider these students loud, obnoxious, and messy. Giving students a responsibility like Osoji can lead to some really good habits. They may add routine cleaning to their living and work spaces and treat other spaces with more respect. Moving on to a country whose system is a little more similar to the U.S., France has a few key ideas that could improve our education. The main thing I find interesting about the French education system is their schedule. Their weekly schedules differ greatly from the U.S. schedules. This is an example from IE Languages that a student in France might have. Students are in school from 8 to 5 p.m., which is a lot longer than the U.S. school day. But within the day, students get a 1 to 2 hour lunch break in which they can either eat a school-provided lunch, which is a lot better than the ones here in the U.S., or they get to go out of school and eat, whether that's at home or in the area around the school. Wednesdays are typically a half day for students, and some schools will have an additional half day on Saturday, though not every school does that. The French school year lasts about 10 months from early September to early July. This means they have a shorter summer break, but they make up for it in other ways. The French school system gives students 4 2-week breaks in the fall, over the holidays, in the late winter, and during the spring. This kind of schedule gives students longer breaks, but leaves them without a huge summer break. In my opinion, I think this would be more beneficial for students in the US because it can help with academic burnout. Think back to the summer breaks you had. I'm sure most people remember one or two in which they were bored and they kind of sat around the whole summer not doing anything. Having a smaller break might get students to use their time more preciously or further enjoy the time they have off instead of getting stir crazy. In summary, the US can learn a lot by looking at other countries' education systems. Korea, Japan, and France have some key aspects of their education that students here could benefit from. To end it off, adaptability to change is itself a hallmark of education by Peter Hinton.